What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Still got smiles on our faces just for now. No football still been played. Got gearing up for the weekend. This will be, well, the last weekend without Spurs at least. Next weekend we are back, and the Zerbi ball will be there up at Sunderland. Very much looking forward to it.
I don't think Spurs fans are ever as happy as when Spurs are not playing. I think that's the happiest time of the season.
I just want to get back to it, man. I'm just so intrigued to what this is going to, these last 7 games.
Addicted to the pain.
I think we're going to do it, man. I think we're going to do it. I think we're in for a nice surprise these last 7 games.
Yeah, I think at least it's given everyone a bit of hope and a bit of like, okay, mate, we've got something in place now. This is a real proper manager that we've got at the helm. There's a bit of excitement brewing.
Absolutely. Look, let's get cracking and let's get straight into it, because there has been an update from Gazzetta Italia. I say update, or shall I say propaganda from Gazzetta Italia, that says Roberto De Zerbi will not just be the head coach at Tottenham, he will also be given a Sir Alex Ferguson style role in which he'll be given a central figure in all footballing decisions.
We found our Fergie.
Like, geez, like, usually managers have to come in, prove themselves, and even then, you know, it's touch and go whether they get that kind of manager role, that full control, say over all transfers and everything like that. But we've just said to De Zerbi, you know what? Here's the keys. 5 years. Put whatever number you want on the contract, whatever number you want on the signing on fee, whatever number you want on the years, and you get full control. Everything. We're going to leave everything up to you.
Well, to be fair, is that not better than Enoch making any footballing decisions or getting involved in anything? Better. So, from one point of view, I'm like, okay, it's a footballing person. He comes, he's clearly very innovative when it comes to being on the forefront of football tactics, even in European football. He's extremely knowledgeable about the game. He's someone who you probably trust to be at the forefront of footballing decisions at the football club. On the other hand, the Alex Ferguson model does seem very outdated, and you don't see managers nowadays in modern football getting that sort of control. It's too much for managers.
Arteta has it.
Well, Arteta is probably one of them. But I think for most clubs, it's too much for managers to have sort of total control over a whole football club when it comes to recruitment and scouting, all these different things.
I'd say Pep Guardiola probably has it as well.
I don't know if he does.
I think he does.
I don't know how much control he actually has. And we know Klopp didn't have as much control when he was at Liverpool. Apparently he wanted Julian Brandt, and they went the scouting data team went for Mo Salah, and they ended up going in that direction. He's been on record with that. I think when it comes to kind of managers, when you look up and down the league, it's not kind of the default kind of anymore like it used to be, like where you have Harry Redknapp making phone calls to old players to get them through the door. Like that kind of element to football management is definitely going out the game. There's now teams of people managing clubs, and you've got each team, each kind of unit having their own team of people running things. And I think you don't usually nowadays, managers are just focused on, you're managing the team, you're basically you're managing the tactics of stuff on the pitch, and off the pitch is left to other people. Now, whether De Zerbi himself is the guy to trust in this situation, you've got to take into account when he was at Brighton, he was at a very well-oiled, well-run machine where he was a cog in a system. Brighton didn't look to De Zerbi and say, we want all your expertise in scouting and everything, and we're going to give you full control. They just said, you manage the team, we'll sort out the players, don't you worry about it. And look, obviously there was a clash there, wasn't there? I think I don't know exactly, I need to look into it more, but I don't know why it broke down, why he left Brighton. But
apparently one of the elements was he wanted more control.
So
and he wanted to kind of fasten up the progression of the football club. They wanted to carry on in bringing in more young up-and-coming players and players with future high sell-on values, and which they were doing very successfully in. He wanted to bring in a bit more established players to take them to the next level.
Right, but was the frustration more the fact that they kept having to sell players and they kept having to buy new players all the time. Like they had Caicedo, Cucurella, all these like great players that Zerbi was getting McAllister getting the best out of, and they kept having to sell them and bring in other players. And so it was the frustration that, or maybe it was both, but was the frustration more that they were kept having to sell their best players and replace them, or was the frustration that they're replacing the players they're selling with younger players all the time?
I think it was both. I think it was both.
Yeah, I know.
I think he wanted to. I think the general point was that he wanted to fasten up the progress of the football club.
But
and that couldn't happen when the players kept getting sold, and on top of that, when the players kept getting sold, they keep going for young and up and coming players on top of that.
Yeah, but I wonder, would he have stayed if Brighton were a bit more stubborn in their sales and say, look, we're keeping Caicedo, we're keeping this player, even if they're signing younger players on to supplement those players? Would he have stayed in that situation rather than being frustrated with continually losing your best players? I don't know exactly. I don't know. But my point being is that Zerbi hasn't had this amount of control out of the football clubs, I don't think. So it's a big risk to then give him the keys and give him a lot of control at Tottenham when we don't know how effective he'll be with that amount of control, if his knowledge is going to be good enough to basically, has he got enough of knowledge to basically cover all bases? Does he need a team of people? What does full control mean anyway? Is he going to get full control? They're saying it. Is it actually going to bear out in reality? What does it mean to have full control? Does it mean he's doing the scouting? Obviously not. We've got scouts. Does it mean he would be demanding certain players? Is it just he's going to be demanding profile of players and then the scouts have to go find them? Or is he going to actually be identifying players himself, which the club will have to go out and buy? It's very peculiar what that means, but we know that Fergie had pretty much control over everything at that football club, right? But Fergie was also very different to Zerbi, because Fergie was more of a manager in the sense that he wasn't really the brains behind the tactics. It was mainly the coaches. Fergie actually wouldn't take the training sessions. The coaches would, and then he'd come in, and obviously he would give the ideas of what we're going to do on specific like in-game stuff, and obviously he'd be motivational, and you run the dynamic of the team and manage these big stars, right? Zerbi is the opposite. He's a very, very hands-on coach. I've seen interviews of players saying he basically runs every training session. He's literally involved in every training session. Kevin Prince Boateng says if you're falling asleep in training, he'll tackle you to make sure you're awake. He's kicks every ball. Sometimes he's a keeper, sometimes he's a defender, sometimes he's a striker. He gets very, very involved. So if that's the case, it's very different to being a manager, and he's been announced as being a head coach, not a manager as well. So I don't know how to feel about that. Is it too much, giving him too much power? We've already given him enough power with the 5-year deal and everything like that. So I guess if you're doing that, you've got to give him as much control as possible, and maybe you have to give him everything you want because you're in a desperate position. But I'm just saying, I don't know if it's a good thing that we're giving him all this control.
What I've heard, I've heard another report saying that the next sporting director is going to be employed by Zerbi. Zerbi is going to have a lot of say of who this next sporting director coming in is going to be to replace or to work alongside Johan Lang. I'm not too sure, but in previous times at Tottenham Hotspur, it's been like the manager working underneath the sporting director, where it could be maybe a Zerbi and a sporting director might be on kind of level playing terms, or maybe Zerbi even tiny bit above the sporting director.
I think it's good, right? In theory, that sounds good because you have the two people on the same page. But then what happens if Zerbi resigns or gets sacked? And then what happens? Then we're stuck with the sporting director who was appointed by the manager who got sacked, and now he's got to find a new manager, and all of a sudden it's a bit of a messy situation because when you bring a sporting director who brings in the manager because he aligns with the vision of the club, then even if the manager goes, that alignment or that direction should still stay the same. With the manager bringing the sporting director, then all of a sudden, does that mean the sporting director then has to leave if the manager leaves?
It very much depends on how the sporting director feels. If he shares the same kind of footballing philosophy as Zerbi, we want that footballing philosophy to stay the same no matter who the manager is, whether Zerbi stays or goes. we want to stay with that similar kind of passion and similar kind of philosophy. So if De Zerbi stays and the sporting director is of that same philosophy, then I don't see it being too much of a problem, you know, because if that sporting director stays, then obviously it'll be his job to look for a manager with that same philosophy.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if he's very much aligned with De Zerbi, and that's why I'm coming because De Zerbi's appointing me, then if De Zerbi leaves, where does that leave us and a sporting director? Does that mean we're going to be having to be looking for another sporting director?
It might be, but like I said, the work could carry on after he goes. Just because De Zerbi brings in a sporting director and De Zerbi goes, it doesn't mean that the sporting director can't move forward past De Zerbi. Like, surely they're not just married to each other and that's it. Like, De Zerbi's never taken a sporting director anywhere with him in previous jobs.
That's my point. That he's if
I don't think everything is all like as black and white as that. Like,
as what?
Just because it's De Zerbi brings in a sporting director doesn't mean the sporting director needs to leave if De Zerbi leaves.
But it could.
It could mean that, but it might not mean that.
Because the whole point is what you're saying is De Zerbi wants to bring in a sporting director that aligns with him.
I don't think it matters. I really don't think it matters, because you want the club to carry on in the same philosophy whether De Zerbi stays or goes. If this sporting director is off that same philosophy, then his job will be to look for another manager of that same philosophy.
But if De Zerbi is like blows up or resigns, whatever, because of disagreements, then where does that? And my point is,
well, that just leaves the club in the mud, regardless.
And exactly, and I understand that, but as well. But if we have a sporting director that is separate from De Zerbi, that you can kind of separate the two. But if they're very much tied together, it becomes a complicated situation. Is my point. But I don't mind it in theory, because right now we kind of have to just bow to his every wish, and I'm not really against it.
I'm very much in favour of that.
Like I think
very much.
we kind of have to, because we're desperate. I don't think in general it's not a situation you want to be in as a club. You need to. There has to be give and take. When you appoint a manager, you shouldn't really, especially unless you're hiring a Guardiola or a Klopp. Some people, managers with real vast CVs of unbelievable excellence, which cannot be denied. I don't think De Zerbi's quite in that category just yet. Unless you're hiring that kind of figure where you would give them the keys, because you can 100% trust that they will go take you in the right direction. If you just listen to them, everything will be good, right? Unless you're hiring that kind of manager of that kind of level, I think giving someone like De Zerbi the keys is a massive risk. And I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but at the end of the day, it's kind of the best course of action, because if he's demanding that, and if he's saying, I ain't coming unless you give me X, Y, and Z, I think you got to. And I think
what isn't a risk at this point?
No, I'm not. Of course, I'm saying everything we do is a risk. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it. I'm just pointing out the fact that, is it the best thing or best course of action? Is it is it the perfect thing we should be doing? Is it like, in a perfect world, would we want to be doing this? Probably not, but we kind of have to right now.
What other way can we go? What other way is there to go?
You want him working under a sporting director. You need him accountable. You want other departments to be running other things. You don't want him to have full control over everything, in my opinion. You want it to be more of a holistic approach rather than De Zerbi's way or the highway, in my opinion. But I think right now, if De Zerbi's demanding all these things, you kind of have to trust him. But my point is he someone to trust? That's my point. I would say in an ideal world, no, he's probably not. You wouldn't trust him fully right now until he earns that trust.
Yeah, right? I agree with that.
So I wouldn't give him the keys until he's proven he's the right manager for us long term, which would come over the next year or so, or 2 years. So maybe in 2 years' time, I'd say, okay, give him the keys. He's clearly the right guy for us. So I wouldn't do it off the bat like we're doing right now. It's not an ideal
Look, we
situation.
don't even know if this is true. We're just like, this is just hearsay at this moment. It's only a report from Gazzetta Italia. Like you mentioned before, he has been given the head coach role. He hasn't been given a manager's role. Mm-hmm. So that just suggests that he hasn't got complete full control.
But here's the reality. I don't trust this club to make any decisions. I don't trust this club.
I'd much prefer to trust De Zerbi than Johan Lang and Vinay, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, so from that point of view, that's like better, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy that I'd rather De Zerbi calling the shots than Vinay and Lange, right? my point is, given who De Zerbi is, where he is in his career, the fact that as much as I'm excited about him being manager, I want to be manager, he hasn't exactly proven that he's a guy he's going to be here for 5 years and you can really give him the keys and everything's going to be great if you do that or trust him to do that. In an ideal world, I wouldn't do it right now because he's a very volatile character. But we're not living, we're very, very far from an ideal situation, are we? So
it's interesting actually to know, because I'd like to speak to a Marseille fan or someone in the know of Marseille of what actually happened at the end of Marseille there. Because, you know, we all talk about, everyone talks about De Zerbi being this volatile and fiery and, you know, this guy that will walk out at any second, at any time and goes into clubs and blows them up and everything like that. And at Brighton, obviously, he felt like by the time it had come, he had deserved to have more control and have more of a say of how the football club is run and, you know, and everything like that, which is, I think he actually had a point there, De Zerbi, and he probably did have a say to have it at that point. And then he kind of lost a bit of motivation towards the end there and it ended whatever.
I think he just felt like he hit a ceiling.
Yeah, but he hit the ceiling because of the way the club was run.
Yeah.
So he wanted to take the club in a different direction, and Tony Bloom wasn't kind of.
No, he just probably felt if you're going to continue in this way. I don't think he was like saying, like he was angry. He was just saying, look, I probably can't really do much more here.
No, but he did lose motivation towards the end of it, De Zerbi, and you know,
because he hit a ceiling. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but he only hit that ceiling because of the way the club was run, right?
Yeah.
And he wanted a bit more control and a bit more say of how things were done. They weren't willing to give it to him, so he left the club. It's not like he went in there and blew things up and he was like this whole toxic figure. So that was the Brighton job. The Marseille job, obviously, something did happen there. Nobody knows actually what happened. So like everyone going on and saying De Zerbi's like this crazy volatile figure that goes in and blows things up. Like, is he actually that?
Well, the reports from when he was in Marseille suggested that there was a massive breakdown between the dressing room and him.
So what we're saying is that's happened at one club in his whole career.
Yeah, and obviously at Brighton, he obviously had disagreements and he ended up leaving at the end of the season. He didn't like blow everything up, but he didn't see out his contract. He ended up leaving. They left. I think officially it was by mutual consent. That he left, but he didn't see out his contract for the long term because he felt like he can do much more under the circumstances at Brighton.
But what I'm saying is this whole thing about him being this crazy figure that goes in and blows everything up every time, like, is it not being overstated a little bit?
Probably. I think he is clearly, in terms of how he is, he's a fiery character. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
You can see in how he talks to his players, how even when he gives team talks and everything. You've watched parts of that Marseille documentary. You can see the guy's full of passion, but he's a fiery character. He maybe will say things in the heat of the moment. Sometimes he doesn't control himself. You know, I think there was a very interesting clip where Mehdi Benatia, who's the sporting director of Marseille, had to have a talk with him because he said he was on the touchline going in on one of the players during a game, one of the younger, I think it was a centre-back or something. He was going in on him the whole game, and Benatia spoke to him after the game and said, look, you're just constantly going in on him. Like, you know, you've got to give him confidence. You can't just berate him constantly. And he actually admitted, you know what, you're probably right. I went over the top. And he actually apologised to him the next day in front of the whole team. But my point is, he did have that tendency to do that, although he did realise, you know, and to be fair to him, he did admit he was wrong. He just has that tendency to go overboard, and obviously he did end up falling out with the team for one reason or another. Who knows how many of the team he did fall out with, whether there was just enough of the squad that he felt like he couldn't get the results continually, or was it the majority or whatever. But he had a falling out, he lost the dressing room. But the weird thing is, he lost the dressing room, but it wasn't exactly right when he left. The results were awful. Like I think they were still third in the league, not even that far. I think there was something like 6 points off PSG when he left. But they did obviously go out of the Champions League. But for some reason, the dynamic broke down at Marseille. But you look at him as a character, how he behaves, and that feeds into the narrative that he is very much a volatile character who has kind of like mood swings, and he'll 1 minute he's your best friend, 1 minute he'll go at you, and he's like always with maximum intensity. So that feeds into this narrative about him that he is this guy that's gonna come in and, you know, it's gonna be like, you know, he's going to go in at players. He's going to, in essence, kind of blow up situations. He's not going to basically toe the line. He's not going to. It's not going to be a simple situation when he's here. Whether it's fair to say he's going to come in at any moment he could leave and any moment he could resign and stuff like that, maybe that's a bit unfair, but he's definitely a volatile character. I definitely think you can see that by how he acts. Now, maybe he's learned from those situations. Maybe he's learned to control his emotions a bit more. Maybe he doesn't need to. Maybe that's what gives him his edge. I don't know.
He's been likened to like Conte in that situation like a lot, and like
he is similar to Conte, I think.
Like, but in terms of passion on the training ground and stuff like that, yeah, I'd agree, he's similar to Conte. But like Conte has so many more examples of like just leaving on a whim and just being like, you know what, I'm off.
Apart from Spurs, I don't think he ever left mid-season in any other job.
Maybe not mid-season, but he's definitely like had history of like going and blowing things up a lot more, hasn't he? Like at Chelsea, it ended quite toxic there.
Yeah, but he saw
with Antonio Conte. And I'm sure in other situations as well.
Yeah, but I'm saying it apparently ended quite toxic at Brighton. That's what I heard.
No, well, you just said it didn't end toxic at Brighton. You said it ended amicably.
No, it was mutual, but I heard within the dressing room there was a bit of, not necessarily maybe it was cause of stuff that happened with the board, but from what I read, it did end a bit toxic with him, and he wasn't happy. But yeah, it was more due to the fact he felt like he hit the ceiling, and he wanted the club to kind of take him on, to go on another level. But I think I read somewhere it did end a bit toxic with Brighton as well.
I don't think it ended toxic with the team. I think it was basically just with Tony Bloom.
Yeah, I think it was more with the board. It ended toxic. Obviously, it did with Marseille. But I think obviously where it gets unfair is when you look at his when you take his whole career and you start creating a narrative that he never stays at any club for X amount of time because he's a volatile character. I think that's where it gets unfair, because I think early in his career, I think, look, with most managers, you're learning your trade. Some managers start, go in straight away and kill it in their first job and then, become Pep Guardiola and things like that, or Jurgen Klopp. Some managers take their time. Some managers find their feet. And Palermo, Benevento, he had some learning curves to go through, right? And it wasn't simple for him.
Yeah.
He didn't just come in and kill it straight away. He wasn't like an amazing manager, right? So, those couple jobs, it was a learning curve. But then he did go to Sassuolo, was there for 3 years, and was really good. He did go to Shakhtar, and Boulderkans was doing a fantastic job before the war happened, and then ended up leaving. He went to Brighton, then was at Brighton for 2 years, where he did a brilliant job, then ended up leaving. And then what happened to Marseille. So I think it's hard to know exactly what the true De Zerbi is. There is definitely a narrative about him that was just possibly unfair, that he could just blow up at every moment. But I definitely think there is validity to the concern about his volatility.
Yeah. Look, which is fair to say, but I think we went on a massive tangent here. But
I think it's all linked.
To be fair, it is.
Control.
But in terms of this, do you actually think this is actually true, though? Are we going to have they said to De Zerbi, you know what, you're going to have a lot of control here?
Yeah, I think they've told him that for sure. For sure they've told him that. Whether they'll give it to him is another thing. I think they've definitely told him that.
I think it's right, because this report doesn't actually say he's going to get full control. They say he's going to be a central figure in footballing decisions. And,
which he should be.
And I think that's exactly what he should be.
I mean, in theory, all managers should be, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
I mean,
but we know all managers are not.
Yeah. Which obviously gets.
Like we know, like with the managers that we had in the past, Thomas Frank, they tried to do something similar. Like they didn't try and give him full control, but he was supposed to be like a key figure in terms of moving Spurs forward, and he was supposed to be central to a lot of footballing decisions.
Yeah, but this is what I say about Tottenham in terms of I think they want to be like a Brighton or a Brentford in a way in terms of how they run the club, but they just don't have the quality or the football knowledge to do that. So they're always trying to. So I think they're probably best off trying to import that externally. From a manager to try and I think Poch gave it to us, like that kind of stability and that how things were run under him. He had quite a lot of control, and he obviously brought a lot of things in his way and stuff like that. I think under Frank they were like, okay, we're going to bring him in, and he's going to I
don't think Poch had enough control.
Yeah, and maybe not, but I think they brought Frank in. And they were like, okay, he's going to be like a cog in our machine, but we're going to try and give him more. We're going to try and implement, the Brentford kind of machine. We're going to basically bring in all the Brentford guys, and we're going to become like a Brentford with loads more money. But they just don't know how to operate as in terms of getting those advantages over other football clubs from the higher level. So maybe you do have to implement it from externally from like a manager, just give him control and get him to bring his guys and do that. But I think the whole thing just is at the moment, it's still like a worry because from the very top, they still don't know what they're doing.
I think it all comes down to this comment here from King Huddle saying, the more control we take out of the two clowns, the better.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
And that's it. Give Vinay and Lang as least control as possible. Give that control to De Zerbi and the people De Zerbi employs. And I'm all for that, to be honest.
Yeah. I think, my point being, I don't think it's guaranteed that it's a good thing to give him as much control as possible. That's my point. But is it a better chance of being successful than giving any control to Vinay and Lange? Yeah.
I think so. So make of that what you will, people. Apparently, Spurs are giving De Zerbi a Sir Alex Ferguson style role at the football club, which maybe you might liken to maybe what Arteta has at Arsenal, but Arteta kind of didn't come in that role straight away. He came in as very much a head coach role. He earned that role, and then as the years have progressed, he's got more and more powerful at that football club. Where I've never actually heard of a situation where a manager comes in straight off the bat with 7 games to go in a season and suddenly gets all this control. I don't think it's ever been done.
Especially a manager with, I'm not saying he's obviously experienced, but especially a manager of the level currently of De Zerbi, of what he's shown. I'm not saying he's not shown anything, don't get me wrong, but he's not exactly shown to be this elite level manager just yet. As much as I agree that he is one of the most influential managers in recent years in the Premier League, he's extremely talented, but he's still got some way to prove that he's he's on the level of the best in the league. I don't know if he's proven that just yet, and so to risk it is a risk. But we're gambling at the moment. The whole giving him this deal has been a gamble. This whole thing has been a gamble. So might as well bet big on De Zerbi. You know, you've bet big already. Might as well keep chucking the chips in.
Well, let me know about your thoughts on that in the comments section below. We've got a members chat from Mr. Brian Dagel. He says, F. Enoch, the Lewis kids, Vinay, Lange, and the medical team too. And always love We Are Tottenham TV. Loving my break, but we'll send this message monthly. Forget this break, Brian. I think it's time to come on, man. I think it's time to come on. If you want Brian to come on, let us know in the chat. Come on.
We all want to hear from Brian.
Let's try a bit of peer pressure, see if it'll work.
Brian.
We know he's watching because he just commented again just now. So come on, Brian.
I hope you're enjoying your break.
Haven't seen you on this screen for so long, man.
And I know you're enjoying your break, and I'm glad that you're taking well-earned rest. But got a new manager.
We saw him on YouTube a couple of days ago or a week ago.
All right.
Yeah, let's keep it cracking. Next up, Tom Barkley is reporting that Spurs are still sorting out Roberto De Zerbi's backroom staff, though it is understood that it will not include Alessandro Nesta, despite the speculation. So it looks like he's not going to be joining Spurs.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a few names in the offing which haven't been reported yet. Obviously, Sandro's been reported, but I don't know if he's actually going to be a part of the coaching staff because he's in London at the moment, but he seems to be on every podcast, left, right and centre. And
there was a report saying that he's actually meeting with De Zerbi within 24 hours of landing in London. So I don't know how true that is.
Something to it. But it's a shame because Nesta, in terms of Nesta, because he's obviously a player that garners a lot of respect. But as I said, he was a terrible manager. So whether he's actually a good coach, I don't really know. There are sometimes good players and not good coaches, but yeah.
Yeah. Look, who knows? Just because you're not a good manager doesn't mean you're not a good coach.
Yeah.
So that's that. Next up, well, the thing is though, it's just the name, isn't it? The name and what he can give to the centre backs at this football club.
He immediately garners respect from Romero, Van der Ven, the main players in the squad. You look at someone who's been a World Cup winner, multi-Serie A winner. You look at that and you think wow, like that's the kind of guy you can respect, isn't it? And you'll listen to what he's saying immediately. So that's fine, but still, coaching comes from talent more than knowledge in a way. Knowledge is great, but it's all about communication, getting the message across to the players and stuff. Who was it? There was a player, I can't remember, was it Hoddle? Or maybe it was Thierry Henry. I read a lot of reports. Obviously, he was a phenomenal player, Thierry Henry. But there's a lot of reports saying that he used to get frustrated when he was trying to manage players because they couldn't do what he used to do. And you say, oh, you get the ball, you do this, you dribble past goal plays, you score, put the slit top corner. He's trying to implement tactics as if like everyone's as good as him, and then get frustrated when people aren't able to do it, right? So I'm not saying Nesta's like that. I'm just saying, my point being, not always the best players make great coaches, even though they played at a very, very high level for a long time.
Yeah, but also not the greatest coaches make good managers as well. So we've seen good coaches try and become managers, and it hasn't really worked out for them.
Absolutely right. There's been a lot of coaches who've tried to make the step up to be a manager, and it hasn't worked. And they've always been good number twos. I remember, who was it? I think David Moyes had.
Isn't Steve Holland one of them? Didn't he try like?
Yeah, he was being a number two for a while, and then he tried to make the step up to number one and wasn't good. I think David Moyes.
Carlos Queiroz.
Yeah. Moyes had an assistant, I think Alan Irvine. He was his assistant for many, many years, and he tried to make the step up and just wasn't good. Yeah, but he was a very good assistant. There's been a few examples.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about Mohamed Kudus. We've seen you, Nina Chow, in the comments. You're gagging for a Kudus update.
Come on.
Here it says Paul O'Keefe is saying that Kudus is supposed to be back for Tottenham's clash against Sunderland next Sunday. He didn't say that. I find it highly unlikely it will be from a starting role, probably from the bench. But if we can get Kudus back in that squad next weekend, that is going to be a major plus for us. And I think, the stats of the results that we were getting pre-Kudus and post-Kudus, it's just eye-watering. Like we need to get him back in the team.
Eye-watering in a bad way.
Yeah. Eye-watering because it made you cry.
Yeah. I would. I think Kudus is such an important player, and I think Zerbi is going to love Kudus. We already know that he wanted Kudus when he was at Brighton. There's been reports. So definitely, I think it's very important we get Kudus back. Look, we'll see whether he's ready to start or not. Maybe he'll get half an hour. Maybe he'll start an early player now and have to come off. It all depends when he's back in training, first team training, when he's back on the grass, blah, blah, blah. How ready he is. Obviously, he's been out for 3 months, so you do want to be careful with him. And we've obviously rushed players back before, and it's been a problem, hasn't it? So you don't want to put too much pressure on him, but we need him right now. That's the reality. We are desperate for him. If this is, let's be honest, if this was Harry Kane, he'd probably go straight back into the starting 11, doesn't he? So if you look at it from that lens, maybe he would start, but we'll see. We'll see what happens when he's back fit, and if he's back in training, and obviously Zerbi will confirm it in his first press conference next week.
Yeah.
But he's such a vital player. I think he's really perfect player for Zerbi as well.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, Zerbi thinks actually tried to sign him.
Yeah, so I mean, vitally important. But last but not least, a bit of a transfer speculation from Court Offside saying that Tottenham have explored a move for Gabriel Sara, who's open to a move to the Premier League. Galatasaray would be open to selling the Brazilian midfielder for around 45 million euros this summer. Obviously, he's a player that had a lot of appearances for Norwich down in the Championship after getting Team of the Year, and I think he got like over 30 goal contributions that season for Norwich. He ended up moving to Galatasaray, and I think he's been decent for Galatasaray, but he's one of these players that can play 10, 6, 8. He's had time on the right wing, the left wing, right midfield, left midfield, right back, left. Like, he's literally played everywhere, this guy.
Yeah, I think all transfer talk has to be surely delayed until Zerbi's had time to look at the squad. Like, there's no point talking about transfers when Zerbi hasn't managed a game. So, also, I think if you're telling me he's a central midfielder who can play 8, and we have enough of those, don't we, right now? I don't know if we need another one.
Depends how good he is on the ball.
Depends how good he is. Unless we are looking at transfers, and that would tell me that Zerbi isn't getting the control that he wants already. So I don't think it's true. I don't think we're looking at anyone
Zerbi's been in a couple of days. He's not drawing up his transfer list already. We heard he's already spoken to the hierarchy about what players he wants in.
No, I doubt that.
You never know. We were talking about him wanting Locatelli yesterday.
Yeah, true. I think Locatelli. I think that's an obvious one, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that is an obvious one. But look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have spoken about today. But big up to all of you in the chat. We've got 1,149 people in here with us right now.
Big up.
Smash that like button if you want to see Mr. Brian Dagel on the show. Is he going to show up?
Wait, how many likes are we on? Where's the stream? If we get to 500 likes, Dagel.
500 likes in the next few minutes.
Go on. 124 likes.
Dagel ain't coming on.
There's 1,100 of you. Just 50% of you have to like the stream. Less. Come on. 500. Get to 500 likes and Dagel will come on. Let's see how desperate you're on it. Like the stream. Everyone scroll down. Takes 1 second. Go and like the stream.
Oh, God.
Get liking. Over 1,000 of you in the chat. Let's see how much you want it. Let's see how much you want it. Brian, don't go all gung-ho.
And there you go. Brian's giving us the spoiler. He's saying he's coming on regardless, mate. He's coming. He doesn't care about how many likes we get. He's saying, I'm just making a cuppa for me and Ilana, and then I'll be there. Sammy's already sent the link.
Well, if you want it guaranteed, you better get it to 500 likes.
Yeah, but we've got a few more segments to bring you today, but we'll just put that on hold just for a little bit while we wait for Mr. Dagel to come on, and I'm dying to hear what he has to say about the situation.
I haven't spoken to him about Zerbi. I'm excited to see what he's got to say. Spruve says Matoma to Spurs, one to keep an eye on.
Matoma to Spurs. How old is Matoma now?
28 maybe?
God, he scored a great goal against England, didn't he?
He did. Matoma. Have we missed the boat on him? He is 28, yeah. He's going to be 29 in a month.
So they're saying transfer market says his transfer market value is only 25 million. How long has he got left in his contract? That surely means he doesn't have a lot long left.
2027.
Yeah, so one more year.
A year in the summer, yeah.
Going into his final year, how much do you reckon he costs? 40 million?
Something like that.
40 million for Matoma, I think, is great value. I think Matoma's brilliant, man. I think Matoma on that left-hand side for us.
I reckon as well. Yeah, I'll definitely take Matoma for sure.
And I don't think Matoma's been as good for Brighton since Zerbi left.
I agree with that as well. I think if Romero leaves, guaranteed we go all out for Van Hecker. Guaranteed. I really like Van Hecker. He's a good player. Really good player. I've been very impressed with him. When he first came, I thought he was a bit of a lump.
Van Hecker's brilliant.
Yeah, I thought he was a bit of a lump when he first came. Wasn't that impressed? I thought he looked like slow on the turn, but he's actually really improved. Since he's got there, he's actually a top centre back, and he's brilliant on the ball. Absolutely brilliant.
You know what? Kudus on the right, Matoma on the left. That's shaping up to be a decent attack.
Van Hecker and Van de Ven, maybe.
What about Vuskovic?
Building a serious team. Danny Welbeck up front.
That's where you've lost me. Can Van Hecker play on the left, or does he only play on the right?
Mainly on the right. Dunk usually plays on the left.
But can he play on the left?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't know for sure. I just know mostly he's on the right.
Yeah, View from Nowhere says Matoma should have been Son's replacement.
Yeah.
Should have been.
Absolutely. Should
have been. But we got Matisse Tell instead.
it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of players, which we'll go into, but what if all the attacking players can unlock a bit more out of themselves under De Zerbi, with their platform, with more chances, more opportunities to get forward, more touches in the final third, which we just didn't have under Frank.
Yeah.
If we can see more out of them.
They have to, surely. Like, Frank was such a risk-averse manager that I think even if we had much better, quality in the forward line, I still think, we might have scored a few more goals, but it still would have been great on the eye. With De Zerbi, I think with the players that we have now, we'll create more and we'll score more.
Yeah.
I think it's just as simple as that.
Will we concede more? That's the question.
I mean, we conceded a lot under Frank.
Yeah.
We conceded a lot more under Tudor, goals to game ratio. But I don't know, man.
And if Van der Ven didn't like having to defend counters and high line all the time, he's in for something under De Zerbi. He's in for it again.
Who, Van der Ven? Van der Ven's hamstrings. You need to watch out for them again under De Zerbi.
100%. A bit disingenuous to call him Ange 2.0. Who did that? Someone in the comments. Says King Hoddle. I don't think he's Ange 2.0. He's different to Ange.
Is he a better manager than Ange?
I think he's definitely better tactically. I think he's definitely more creative tactically, I would say, than Ange. 100%. Yeah. Ange has other qualities, which I don't know if De Zerbi has, like that real ability to channel something in players. I think they both play really good football. I think defensively De Zerbi might be better, albeit he's not great defensively, but he might be better than Ange. Ange was just horrific defensively. If we're being honest.
What's really positive as well that the set piece coach has obviously done a really good job at Spurs is going to be staying on with De Zerbi.
That's also a bit of a worry. De Zerbi his teams used to be hit quite badly with set pieces. So
I'm saying does the set piece coach is staying on though?
I'm saying that's good, but I'm just saying that is a worry. Because the Premier League at the moment, he's walking into a Premier League where a lot of teams are so highly reliant on that kind of stuff. So I really hope that doesn't come back to bite us. Well,
if Jorgensen's staying on, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue because we've been good with set pieces with him.
Yeah,
he's done a very good job. So, look, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
All right, where is he?
Is he here? Come on, man. He's making his tea. Can he make me one as well? Can he make me one?
Is there any other news coming in about De Zerbi? Kudus is quoted saying, he says, I'm not going through it in the best way at Tottenham. I have to get myself right, think about the club, get into the Tottenham mindset and try to get out of a bad situation we're in and move forward.
Yeah. I saw that interview and look, what can you say? He's in the midst of a relegation battle. He's not exactly going to say it's all going swimmingly over at Tottenham, is it? But it's interesting to hear. I'd be very interested to see what his kind of reaction is to the De Zerbi appointment.
I think he would love it. Look, whether he'll convince him to stay or want him to stay or whatever, because his problem is above De Zerbi he's not happy with. So it wouldn't be about De Zerbi. I think when he decides whether he wants to be at this club or not, if he's not already decided, I don't think it won't necessarily be down to De Zerbi or not.
Yeah. Team Talk are reporting that Spurs have joined the list for Harry Wilson, free agent in the summer.
I don't know about that.
Would you want to take Harry Wilson on a free in the summer?
I mean, considering where we are right now, I can understand people saying, why would you turn your nose up at that?
But he's one I would have looked at in January.
Yeah, for sure.
With 6 months left in his contract, get him in on a cheap deal.
I agree with that. I don't know about the summer.
I think it's a bit ridiculous that we didn't look at that, or maybe we did, but I think it's a bit ridiculous that we didn't go for it.
Big money, and we were like, no.
Like they run the risk of leaving on a free. Like I think it's a bit mad.
Come on. His long-awaited return.
His one and only channel. Mr. Brian Dagel, everyone.
Good morning, or shall I say good afternoon to you, brothers, and everyone in the chat.
Brian, what brings you here today?
Well, you pimping me out and saying, you saw me on a channel a couple of days ago, and I did say, if I've got another channel, of course I'm going to come and do something with you guys, and here we are.
Everyone is very happy to see you back, Brian. Very happy to see you back.
That's nice to hear. Listen, I have missed it. Don't get me wrong, I have been missing it, but the break has been needed. It will still be very, very irregular that I come on, but I can never say no to you two brothers, can I? Ever.
It's great
in the
to have you
contract.
back.
It is in the contract.
It's great to have you back. A lot has happened since you've last been on. When were you last on?
Well, apart from when you guys obviously needed your time off a couple of weeks ago, last time, apart from that, the last time I was on was the day before I left England after Frankfurt.
Wow, a lot has changed since then, that's for sure.
Yeah, just a little, just a little bit.
Just a little bit
has changed.
Zerbi.
Yep.
Is our new manager, as confirmed a couple of days ago.
Yep.
Sticking to football side of things, what was your reaction when you heard, in terms of, in your opinion, in our fight to beat the drop, what does De Zerbi's appointment do for that?
But do I think he's a good manager? I do think he can be a very good manager, plays good football. There was a very big reason why I was deadly against it, or I thought it was a big reason, but after doing a lot of research and with Ben showing me, the reason may not be a warrant reason at all. So
just to be clear, it's not about Greenwoods. I don't want people to get
no, nothing
Yeah.
to do with Greenwood whatsoever.
Yeah.
Nothing. Something completely different.
Yeah, it was actually very important to say that.
It wasn't a big deal. I didn't want people to think that.
But what I think about it is, if I just don't get this Spurs board and why they didn't hire him ahead of Tudor, or why this couldn't have been done sooner.
Well, Brian, I think the reason for that is that when we sacked Frank, I think De Zerbi lost his job at very similar times, so I think it was just too quick.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there are people that will jump from job to job, won't they? Look what Harry Redknapp did with us.
Yeah.
Like, left Portsmouth and was with us with it. You know what I mean? It can happen quickly.
Yeah.
Obviously, ENIC have done what they do best and thrown money at managers but not at players. And he's here. Now we have to see if he can do it. He's got 7 very, very tough games. Very, very tough games. And we'll see if he can do it. I personally think it may be a little bit too late with the fixtures we've got coming up, but now we'll wait and see. As who was it that said it? Adam Lallana. It's going to be a roller coaster, so get ready for a bumpy ride. So we'll have to wait and see.
He said a good roller coaster, though. That's the key point there. But in terms of, because I think a big thing here is going to be how the players react to this and how the players take to De Zerbi. We have heard reports that saying they're excited of the prospect of being managed by De Zerbi. Do you think that is the case, and do you think the players will take to him quite quickly?
I don't think they've got any choice, have they? I don't think.
Well, we said that under Tudor, they didn't really take to him.
Yeah, but what I mean right now is it will show. I mean, if they think that, I remember Ben, you were talking when I was watching you. You were saying that we needed a motivator, someone to wrap an arm around the players and do. Well, they've got the anti of that, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've got a guy that literally is. I'm not going to put my arm around you. I'm going to scream and shout at you. And I think a lot of these
put
players
your hands around your neck rather put your arm around the shoulder.
Mate, personally, I think that's what the players have needed for a long time, because we've seen, not just with these crop of players, even with Poch.
It's called strong love, Brian. It's called strong love.
Strong love, tough love, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that's
get
the one.
your
Tough
arse
love.
in gear love, whatever you want to call it. It's one of those. But yeah, I think it's the stick or the carrot, isn't it? And I think they've been given the carrot way too many times, and they need the stick. And these players need to realise they've got us into this mess, as well as obviously the board, the management. These players have been a major letdown for club. Obviously, there's a few players I'll mention now. I think Kevin Danso, Archie Gray, and even Tell have been three players that have given their absolute everything and always given 110% for Spurs. The rest of the squad, I wouldn't like to pass judgment, but they certainly haven't been given everything. And let's just hope this time we do get some new manager bounce. And if we do, we should be fine. But if we don't, there could be big trouble.
But, Spurs have given him a 5-year deal. They've reportedly made him the third highest manager in the league. They're apparently as well giving him a lot of control, according to some reports in Italy, full footballing control.
Sure.
Is this the right... Okay, whether you believe that or not, let's, for the sake of argument, let's say it's true. Well, that's the intention. Is he the right guy to be giving all this? I understand we're desperate, right? Everyone understands we are desperate to get him in because we're going down. Do you think giving him everything he wants, was that really necessary? Or could we have said no to him and gone in a different direction? What was your reaction to the bumper contract we have given him?
Well, I think the bumper contract was to entice him in like Conte, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They've realised the absolute state of play right now and the huge money they could lose as a football club, the valuation of the club, the wage, everything that goes on with relegation. And Zerbi, by all reports, wanted to wait till the summer. They couldn't wait, so they just kept throwing money hand over fist to get him. Now, it worked with Conte, didn't it, in the first year? We saw what could happen, but Conte is a born winner everywhere he goes. Mm-hmm. This is a huge risk. This is a massive risk.
But was it a necessary risk, Brian, for you?
Depends which way you look at it. Now, everyone, and I'll definitely mention, I don't know, Sim, where were you on the Pochettino? Did you want Poch back?
Yeah.
You did. I didn't. The only reason I didn't want him back is because I don't want him near this club under ENIC or Levy. Obviously, Levy's no longer a part of it, because I think the same would happen again. So I was leaning towards more an ex-Spurs player or ex-manager, i.e. Harry Redknapp, taking over and then going for what you want for in the summer. But I also understand the other side of the coin, where they didn't want to risk it with relegation obviously on the line, and it could be a wrong move. So it's 6 of one and half a dozen the other, really, of what they did. They've put themselves in this situation, and it's either going to be sink or swim, isn't it? Really, it really is. There's no grey areas. There's no room for error whatsoever. Especially when we go into that game. Is the Sunderland game a Saturday or a Sunday?
Sunday.
But West Ham are the Friday, aren't they? So if West Ham beat Wolves, then we're in the bottom three. And then there's a different kind of pressure. There's being just outside it, and then there's being in it. And we'll have to see what comes there. But I don't know I don't know if it's the right move. 5-year contract for a man that lasts 21 months maximum at a club is a bit ridiculous.
Pre this announcement, who were you advocating for? Were you on the Harry Redknapp, Mason kind of camp?
Joe, I spoke to you guys privately about this when we first got rid of Frank. I didn't want Harry, and the only reason I didn't want Harry was he was a 78-year-old man. I was like, he hasn't managed for a bit. Let him enjoy his life with Sandra. Do his media work when he wants. Let him enjoy the final chapters of his life. But then you look at it, when it came to this point, I was like, do you know what? We need him. We need him. And I would have wanted it that, when Paul Merson signed for Portsmouth, Harry used to say to him, come down, train 1 day a week, but turn it on Saturday. Was hoping we'd get in an assistant manager alongside Harry, like Sherwood, do the coaching, and Harry would come down on, let's say, a Friday, then take the game. So I was leaning towards that. And I also was leaning towards, if you're going to go and offer a big contract like this, I'd rather we did everything to try and get Robbie Keane in. if we were going to tempt the manager full time, not interim. Yes, he hasn't done it in the Premier League, but there's a guy that has known this club inside out, knows the passion, loves this club, has obviously gone to 2 international countries and doing very, very well. I actually think, do you know what? You don't see young managers. You've seen it now with the youngsters like Troy Parrott and others going abroad to excuse me, to reignite their career when they're not getting the loans or game time. I think what Robbie Keane has done to say, I'm not waiting for League One, League Two. I'm going to go out and go to different countries, learn languages. I think he's done incredible. Whether the Premier League was like save Spurs too big a towel, but that's where if we were going permanent and it weren't going to be Poch, I would have rather we go for Robbie Keane. In all honesty, but we are where we are.
Brian, you keep, everyone keeps saying, but you're saying on this stream about how much of a risk it is to bring in Zerbi right now, right? Yeah. I mean, any of the names mentioned is going to be a massive risk to be able to keep us in the Premier League this season. Do you not think that we've got a better chance of staying in the league today than we did last week?
Right, put it this way, but if we let's just say we brought Redknapp in, let's just play devil's advocate. Redknapp knows the Premier League, knows this club, has managed us from 20th to Champions League within 2 seasons. Yeah. Has had multiple relegation fights with West Ham, Portsmouth, Southampton. Relegation battles.
Yeah.
Zerbi hasn't had the relegation battle.
Yeah, but this was a very long time ago, though. This was a very long time.
That I completely agree with you, Ben. That there's no doubt about. I saw Hoddle's name being mentioned. I mean, again, another manager that hasn't managed properly for a long time. Zerbi's definitely got one up on let's say Robbie Keane with Premiership experience, but again, he hasn't had to deal with relegation.
Yeah,
he hasn't had to deal with the relegation struggle, and the thing is as well, apart from Richarlison, none of these players have, or maybe Solanke. Oh no, really, he's been at Chelsea and Liverpool. Really, he hasn't really had to do with relegation. Had that great season with Bournemouth. So it's only Richarlison that has really had any kind of relegation experience, and how it's a completely different experience to trying to get into Europe on the top 4. That you're always winning, and it's just when the big game comes. Whereas this season and where we are now, like I said, there is absolutely no room for error. Not a single bit of room for error. So let's hope Zerbi can bring it.
Yeah. So do you think we've got a better chance of staying up now than we did under Tudor or last week?
We've got to hope so. We've got to hope so. It's look. Basically, it's a new manager's come in. He's got to implement his style over. Tudor came in. Obviously, it took a while, those first few games. You saw something at Palace and you saw something at Atletico Madrid, but then obviously the Forest game absolutely capitulated. Whether you want to call
it Liverpool, not Palace.
Liverpool and Athletic. But then Forest was just an absolute shit show of epic proportions when you look at it. Especially, I mean, I can't get past Romero jogging back for the second goal.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. And then also, like, I watched the post-match on the way home from the Forest game. Sim, you were in the studio that day, weren't you, for Forest?
No, I was in the ground.
No, it was Marlon and Ashmassey, wasn't it? I just knew Morgan Gibbs-White was going to have.
Well, everyone was saying it, man.
Look, not just scoring the goal. For 90 minutes, he was given the freedom of Spurs, like he was a Spurs player. He just kept moving around, picking up pockets, and just the players were a disgrace. Again, apart from Danso, Gray, and Tell. So now they've got to come in. They've got to learn the new style. And let's face it, it's a tough run-in, even if we weren't battling relegation. Sunderland away, and their fans are going to be absolutely on top of them. And there is a fantastic place to play football, but those fans are as passionate as they come. Then his first Premier League game, I believe, for Brighton was home to Spurs, and now his first game for Tottenham at home is home to Brighton. So it's a tough game, and Brighton will be up for it. So it's such a huge.
Is he
People are
going to
going
do
on.
it, Brian? Is he going to do it? Are we going to stay up?
I don't know, bro. Listen. I want to be positive. I just can't see. I said after the filth that I think we get 4 to 6 points for the rest of the season, and they'll all be draws. I can't see us getting a win, and I still can't see where the wins come from. Just because he's hired, I've seen people going, "We're going to beat Wolves now," and I'm like, "We haven't beat Wolves since before COVID when Jan Vertonghen scored a last-minute winner." But all of a sudden, we're going to beat them.
I can see us going to Sunderland and getting something, whether it be a draw or a win.
Well, that's the thing. If West Ham win, a draw's no good. But the pressure is right. You know what I mean? There's an added pressure on us. It's time to see. These players need to dust themselves off, come back from international duty, and say, right, internationals are done till the World Cup. Now we give absolutely blood, sweat, and tears to save this great football club. The club that we all love from the most embarrassing moment in our since the 70s, and try and dig ourselves out of it. Will the players come back and do that, or will the players say, like Kudus, for example, Kudus comes back, great to have him back, long injury, he could be a massive difference for us. After coming back from a massive injury, is he going to be going at 100 miles an hour, knowing that he's just come back from injury, and there's a World Cup place at stake? That's the big worry as well with these players. They might be thinking, yeah, World Cup time, let's just stay fit, and we're going on a plane to America, Canada, and Mexico. So we'll have to wait and see. Look, we've given ourselves a massive fight. It's now it's the players. Will they listen to Zerbi? Will they adapt his methods? Will they go in all guns blazing? Will they want to give blood, sweat, and tears and run through brick walls? Let's bloody well hope so.
If we do stay up this season, Brian, are you happy enough, excited with the prospect of De Zerbi taking us forward? Do you think he's like the right guy, if we stay in the Premier League, to take us on and like build a project around?
So after my Thomas Frank shit show, which was a shit show, let's face it. I can openly admit it and laugh at myself. Listen,
Don't worry, Brian. I'm there with you, my friend.
Mate, I backed that manager more than life itself. I really thought it was going to be a rip-roaring success, but I was completely wrong. I don't mind admitting it. Yes, I went in the deep end and I was backing him to the hills until it was unexcusable, and people were going nuts at me for backing a manager, even though they're having a go at me for not backing. Anyway, that's all drama and whatever. Until he didn't go, I'm not getting fully behind. Look, the manager's here. I wish you good luck dealing with that shit show above. Let's see how long you last. Let's go back to your question, Sim. If we stay up, we have another summer of hearing, yep, this is this summer, we go through it. This is the time that we spend the money. This is the time, even though Vinay said moments ago or weeks ago that the money's not available. It's not available, but it is available to offer 12 million a year to a manager, massive bonuses if we stay up. It'll come back to that. So if we stay up, I will just be delighted that Spurs keep their Premier League status. And then what will be in the summer. And when the window closes in the summer, we'll be saying we're short again. And this has happened and that has happened. And then we'll deal with that then. But all I care about now is getting this shit show of the season over. Spurs holding their Premier League status. And then looking forward to a World Cup in my back garden.
So not backing Stelegation then?
Oh, look, let me go on record. Estelle knows this. I have never, ever, 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 ever been up for Stelegation. Listen, we're Stella. Look, people know I love Stell dearly. I've known him for 36 years. We went to school together. I love him. He's a brother of mine. I'll take a bullet for him. But Stelegation or relegation, whatever you want to call it, not a goddamn chance. I understand where Still is coming from completely with what he thinks it will do for ENIC and what they'll have to do, but I don't think ENIC would do a damn thing if things change. They're not all on the side to go, oh, we must get back to the Premier League and start throwing money hand over fist. All the advantages that we would have had with building up this FFP, PSR and FFP, but that all gets ripped to shreds. I am totally and utterly against Stelligation. Never have been, never will be. So yeah, I would never ever want to see Spurs relegated, no matter what. And let's hope that's not the case.
You've not been delegated.
You've not.
No,
The delegation is not strong with this one.
No. Just definitely no. No, a million times.
Brian, we saw the fans line the streets of the Nottingham Forest in the Nottingham Forest game and cheering the team bus to lose 3-0. Apparently, Spurs fans are going to be doing the same against Brighton. Same in the next league game, I think, which will be Leeds.
Yep.
Do you think this is the right way to go about things?
You have to do me dirty here, Ben. You know full well how I feel about the Kumbaya. Let's sing along. Listen.
It's called a relegation parade. Never had one before.
Look. Right, let's put it this way. The actual incentive to get them to bring them in and sing them. I'm not. It's not that I'm against that. I am deadly against Change for Spurs cancelling a protest, just like they do. It blows my mind.
Forget Change for Spurs though. Is it right to protest at this moment in time? Should we not all just be backing the team and trying to beat this thing together?
Ben, I get that part completely, and the fans were doing their part brilliantly until we went 1-0 down, 2-0 down, and then the stadium started emptying.
Yeah.
But we were always together, all together always, but until, oh no, we've had enough. We're 2-0, 3-0 down. I'm walking out. You can't say one thing and then do the. We got to be with the team. We're doing this all together, and then walk out. And then you look at that video that you put up, where you guys were next to Vinay.
Yeah.
And the board, as you know, Ben and Sim, if I'd been with you there, I think we would have been ejected, because I would have been over the and seeing Vinay just prance off without a care in the world, and the people around them just smiling and laughing like this is some kind of game. Yeah. Just that video alone was enough for me to go, right, that's it. They deserve, because yes, I understand this. We've got to get behind them, but Spurs fans have always got behind them. We've always got behind the team. Yes, the home stadium, the atmosphere has been atrocious, but that's because the way that the club have built that stadium and said, right, yeah, you can't stand at the top of the south stand, you can't, and it's very, very hard. The away fans, whenever they're together, you hear Spurs, no matter what ground they're at, no matter how far away they're from the pitch, because you're all together and the chanting never stops. But as soon as you get to the Spurs stadium, it's pockets all over the place, and it's very, very hard to build the atmosphere. Ben, even we were at the Villa game for the cup game, and they did that singing section.
Yeah,
it was very, very. You know what I mean? It's they need to try.
The singing section was me and you.
Yeah, basically, it was you and me. But that's the thing. It comes to the point where I think Spurs. I said it when they made the stadium. They should have said to the shelf side and the Park Lane that those two kind of corners, you're going in the south stand and you're sitting all together to generate that noise, but they haven't done that. So I completely agree with getting behind the boys. I completely agree with getting behind the boys, but the boys, the lads haven't showed up and done anything with this support. So when it isn't going that way, why can't, when the world is looking at them, fans sing their frustration at Vinay, at Lange, at Enoch? You could do both. You can do both, because when you saw it at Crystal Palace, the 3-1 game, people walking out at half time. People walking out at half time and onwards, and there were people on Twitter beforehand going, "Oh, you guys are showing your true colours by not attending the game. We got to be the 12th man." But then they walk out. So it's all well and good to say things on social media or come on here or be in the chat and say, "Yeah, back the team, do this. I'm going to be there, give it everything." But then when you're losing and the boys need you, you walk out. And if you are going to walk out, what's wrong with people venting their frustrations at the ownership that just keep mucking up year after year after year after year after year?
But, you know, everyone's been talking about Change for Tottenham have done it and said, let's do a walkout on 75 or all that kind of stuff. Like, isn't that a powerful image on its own? Like, even if it's not solely for a planned protest against the board, all those empty seats, is that not a kind of indictment on ENIC anyway?
Well, yeah, it just goes to show more people walked out of the Forest game than actually walked out of the planned walkout.
Yeah.
It is. Look, it is what it is.
Spurs, I think Spurs scored like a minute before the planned walkout was supposed to happen or something against Man City, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that just goes to show they were more interested, which I can understand in some way, of the outcome of the game rather than making a stance against the ownership. Look, I've said it before. I'll say it again. When the group that I was part of did it, we were there every single week, whether we had low numbers or not. We didn't back down. We were always there, whether we got the numbers or not, because we weren't gonna submit and give in just because of lack of numbers. And that's I'm obviously, people will know I'm very, very, very. How can I say it? One of my sole aims is to get those ownerships out, and I will support anything.
I would never have guessed, Brian.
Yeah, I don't know if people have been able to crack my code over the years. I don't. It's been a lot of people say I'm misunderstood because I don't come across clear enough. But yeah, like I said,
he didn't get those 6-packs on his fingers for no reason, mate.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. I actually, someone said I should get the tattoos there as 6-pack. It's actually a stupid idea enough for me to tempt me to do it.
I smell a tattoo bet coming on.
Put it this way: if you smell a tattoo bet, I smell a divorce. If Ilana finds out, that's how serious she is on my putting tattoo bets on anymore. But yeah, look, we'll just have to see. The most important thing is Tottenham Hotspur stay in the Premier League. I've seen a lot of people on social media and say, once we know we're Premier League survival is done, I can't wait to protest and blah, 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 blah. We'll see. We'll see. But the most important thing is that we become mathematically unavoidable or can't get relegated. And then we go from there. But big time coming up. We'll see if the Zerbi's got it in him. We'll see if the Spurs players have got some balls and got some blood, sweat and tear and heart and soul and passion to fight for the club. And we'll go from there.
All right. So good to have you back on, Brian.
Good to see you, Brian.
Yeah,
really
well,
good.
you pimped me out. You sent out the. What can I do? What can I do? I heard you two, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, do it. And I saw you see my WhatsApp, Ben, because you just started laughing mid-speech. So there we go. But brothers, you know I love you and I'll always be here for you two. Stand me in the back end. I love him too.
He just messaged me saying, "Oh, send me the link, you wankers."
Yeah, I did. You wankers. I was like, wankers, send me the link. Listen, the way you did it, when you said, I'm sure I saw it on a show a couple of days ago, and then I put in your R3 group. Yep, I was there. I couldn't let you boys down, so here I am. But I'm about to go, and I will say, love you guys, love the channel. Everyone in the chat, have a wonderful day, whatever you're doing, and speak sometime soon.
You have a wonderful day. Happy Passover, and we'll speak to you soon. Speak to you later. The great Brian Dagel, everyone. The great Brian Dagel. Was so good to have him back. Show him some love in the comments, people.
Big up to Brian. Big up to Brian.
Yeah, why not? We can start a poll. Who's up for starting a poll?
A poll for what?
If the Zerbi will keep us up or not.
Oh, right.
We've got a new polling system. Let me just see how this works. What's the date? Oh, it's April. Bloody hell, we're in April.
April 2nd.
Yeah.
You can click with that.
Oh, I need to delete the. Do I need to delete the poll? Yeah.
New one. Oh.
Start poll.
There you go.
Multi-choice.
I'll bring the poll up in just a second. Always great seeing Dagel, says Don Corleone. 100%. 100%.
All right. So, there you go. There's a QR code on screen to
vote.
To vote.
Scan the QR code. Get
It's
your
supposed to
votes
come
in.
up with the options though. Like, you can't see the options. I can see the options on my thing here.
Oh, yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe there's something wrong with it. Is it glitched? I don't see the option. Oh no, I do now.
Have you guys voted? Let me know if you voted. There we go. People have voted. Have you put the link in the live chat? That's the link to vote.
But it won't, it's not showing up. Might need some work. This poll thing.
Belgrade Wanderer says, "Bro, we're not doing all of that just for a poll."
Some people are.
It's not showing up though.
No, it's not showing up. 1 minute. No, it's nothing. Just a glitch.
Can you see it on your end, Sammy?
No.
What, you can't see the...
It's on the website, but not on the Wirecast.
Not on the Wirecast.
Could you like screen share that, the section?
Yeah.
Or would that work? Well, anyway, we've got a resounding yes so far. 82% of you think De Zerbi's going to keep us up.
How many votes we got? 44. 44 votes.
Keep voting. We'll get those...
QR codes is proper Enoch behaviour. That says Scott Spur.
Why?
Stack says you lot are moving like Enoch. What's this got to do with Enoch? Why are people bringing Enoch into this?
Put this up for now, but then I can't move my screen. I can't move this. As soon as I go to different.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I put it up.
Yeah, just put up. Apparently, the Zerbi interview just got released. Hello. Hello.
Has it? De Zerbi interview. Who wants a live reaction, people?
Oh, 3 minutes. 3 minutes ago.
Who wants to do a De Zerbi interview watch along,
Do they
people?
deserve it?
Yeah, of course they deserve it.
Roberto, what?
Twitter, what is that?
It's on Twitter, yeah.
All right.
I liked it. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Live reaction to De Zerbi interview. Let's go.
Wait, can we
I'm
can
very
we hear
happy
it
and
through
very
the
proud
headphones
to
or
be
not?
here. I consider Tottenham one
I
of
can't hear it, no.
You can't hear it. Let me put,
Yeah, maybe plug the.
Ready?
Let's go.
Roberto, welcome to Tottenham Hotspur. How does it feel to be the new head coach?
I'm very happy and very proud to be here. I consider Tottenham one of the most important club in the world, and so I'm very happy. I have a big responsibility, but it's a big challenge for me, and I'm looking forward to start and to work with the players and to win some game. I watched a lot of games, especially in the last period. I know very well the players. I love football, so I watch many games per week. I know everything. I know it's a tough moment for Tottenham, but I know very well it's a tough moment. It's a difficult moment for everyone of Tottenham. I think we have the right qualities to come out from this moment. I believe in the players. I think we have to remember who we are and who the players are, because we have very big players, and we have to work in the confidence of them, in the qualities of them. They have to show what they are and what they are used to playing. I think we have to be focused just on Sunderland game. I don't want to listen speaking about the schedule or the Brighton game or the Wolverhampton game. Game by game, we have to prepare the player to win the game and to be focused just on the game. We have to play with courage. We have to play with the qualities of the players, because if I accepted this challenge is because I have a big confidence in the players and the style of the history of Tottenham football is a very clear style of play. The fans in the last 7 games, especially in this moment, are crucial. We have to be together. They have to stay close to the players, help the players, and the players have to show the right mentality, the right attitude to give back to the fans satisfaction and what they want to see on the pitch. Because after this part of the season, I think we can become great in the future.
There are fans with concerns about comments
pause it.
you made while coaching at Marseille.
Before he gets into that, wow, okay, he's going to address the comments. Interesting, he says, compared to what we've heard from like things like Frank, and say like he feels like there's not a lot of quality in the squad. I mean, I guess he never said it publicly, but
No, but when Frank first came in, he said there was a lot of quality.
yeah, I guess you have to say that. He said these players have to remember they're big players. Their players they have to remember who they are, and we have to remember who we are. Which I like that. I like that's what he said, and that kind of implies like we're going to try and get back to our roots, and we're going to try and get back to the Tottenham we all know. We're not going to try and be something that we're not. We've got to remember.
Yeah,
who
and
we
I
are.
think many managers have tried to make us something that we're not. Obviously, and tried to get us playing back to the way that we all know and love, on the front foot, push and run, attacking football. And I think De Zerbi's going to try and get us playing that way. Obviously, we know what De Zerbi's going to try and do. We know his style of play. But I thought it was interesting what he was saying about, he's watched a lot of Spurs games over the last period. And I'm wondering, it's like, has he watched those games in the last period because he thought, he was going to be in the running in the summer?
Potentially. Obviously, between when he left Marseille and joining and now joining, I reckon for sure I think he probably watches a lot of football, as he says. He's probably looking at all the jobs that potentially could be up in the summer, United, Chelsea, Tottenham, and he's probably studying a lot, and he seems like the kind of guy who never stops. He seems like the guy who is always looking and thinking, isn't he? And always thinking about how he can improve and what he can do next. So I think that's all good stuff to say. When he says I came here because I believe in the players, it's like, and you also got a shitload of money. I think that's probably the main reason. That's kind of how I interpret that.
Not like you to be cynical.
I mean, there's a reason why we gave him a 5-year deal and whatever. He didn't say, look, I would usually demand a 5-year deal, but you know what, I believe in these players so much. You don't have to make these players.
It's because he wanted these players for 5 years.
Yeah, he's always wanted these players. I think he's trying to say the right things. All right, we've just paused it. He's about to address his comments in Marseille. So let's...
Marseille. Is there anything you would like to say to them?
I would like to answer your question in Italian because I want to be clear. Non ho mai voluto minimizzare
I can't see where. Pause it.
la questione violenza.
Put it big screen.
Okay, yeah. Go rewind it a bit. Okay.
you would like to say to them?
I would like to answer your question in Italian because I want to be clear. Non ho mai voluto minimizzare la questione violenza sulle donne o in generale la violenza su nessuno. Nella mia vita io mi sono sempre speso per i più deboli, per i più fragili, mi sono sempre battuto e ho fatto battaglie per stare sempre dalla parte dei più fragili. Chi mi conosce bene sa che non sono la persona che scende a compromessi per vincere una partita in più o per vincere un titolo in più. Mi dispiace se ho toccato la sensibilità di qualcuno con questo argomento. Io ho una figlia femmina e sono molto sensibile a queste cose e lo sono sempre stato. E spero che quando passerà del tempo la gente mi conoscerà meglio e capirà che non volevo prendere nessuna posizione in quel momento.
Roberto, what can you tell us about?
Yeah, pause it.
Paused it.
Yeah, interesting. He's saying he didn't mean to take a stance on the matter when he made those comments.
Yeah, interesting. A kind of apology. He said apology for those who were offended. So kind of not necessarily apologising for what he said, more apologising for how people felt about it. I think what he said before that was, I think, is interesting because he's saying I always take a stance for people who are vulnerable and stuff like that. And he showed that when he was manager of Shakhtar, and he made sure all the foreign players got out of the country before he did. And he was these people were in a vulnerable situation where in a war and everything, and he made their safety was of paramount. Yeah. So he's shown it with some of his actions there. Look, whether people take this apology or take these words, he says, the more you get to know me, the more you get to know my character, you'll understand I wasn't taking a stance. So it's interesting that he addressed it in his first interview, obviously with all the supporters groups coming out with the
I think it's been very similar to like when Serge Aurier first joined the club, and he was kind of made a statement of that ilk. And look, I think it's good that
I think he had to, didn't he?
I think it's good that he's addressed it, and I think he's addressed it well, to be honest. And look, let's be honest, he's got a daughter. I don't think like he condones any of the wrongdoings that Mason Greenwood did. I think he said here clearly that he didn't want to take a stance on the matter, albeit people have taken from what he said that he has taken a stance on the matter. But I genuinely believe that I genuinely believe him with what he's saying here.
The only thing I would say is when he said, people know me knows I wouldn't compromise on things just to win a game or win a title or win a title or something like that. I mean, people would argue signing Greenwood was doing that. That's what people would argue. So that's the only thing. I don't know whether I agree with that, but that's what people would say to that comment of his. But I think it's a good thing he addressed the situation. He just came out and said something. He didn't let it become a thing where nothing goes unsaid, and he's made his stance clear. So look, people will react to it and take it in their own way. But I'm glad that he's kind of got out of the way straight away.
Yeah, look, he's clearly apologised for offending people. He's clearly apologised for it. So I think good on him.
All right, let's listen to the rest of it then.
About your footballing philosophy.
I think it's not the right moment to speak about my philosophy of football. I'm here now, maybe at the end of the season, because we have to win the game. And in football, the style of play, the tactical disposition are important. There is a mentality, and I would like to help the player to reach the best mentality we can show. I signed 5 years of contract because for me is a big challenge, and I will be the coach of Tottenham next season. No matter what. I love keeping the ball. I love the ball possession. I love create chance to score. But in the same time, I love 11 defenders when we have not the ball, because in this time of football, we have to attack in 11 players with the goalkeeper as well, and we have to defend in 11 players when the ball is not for us. I think in this moment we have no time to work too much in more principle, but we have to know what we have to do on the pitch. We have to have a good organization on the pitch, with the ball, without the ball. We have to consider the qualities of the players. We are lucky. I am lucky because I have big players with big talent, and my work is to help the players to show their qualities. Many times ago I said football is my life and my life is football, but it's true, because football is my work. I respect football because football gave me everything. And for me it's not a real work, it's a passion. If I stay at home, I watch football. If I work, I watch football and nothing changes. Stay at home or to be a coach. For me, Tottenham, especially in this moment, is maybe the most important challenge in my career. I'm ready to start this challenge, and I go to work with my characteristic, with my passion, with my vision of football, and with my technologies as well.
Paul, that's the end. Yeah, very interesting. That
Roberto,
part,
well,
really interesting. I mean,
Says he'll be here no matter what.
yeah, I mean, for next season he'll be here no matter what, which is very positive to hear. Really positive that he's bought into it. Relegation, no relegation, he'll be here next year. So I think that is really important for him to say at this moment. It really is.
Yeah, because a lot of people wondering, is he going to jump ship if we go down? All this kind of stuff, and he's made it clear, hasn't he? He's made it clear that he is going to be here no matter what for next season, which is, I think, a very important message for a lot of the people who had reservations about him. Before thinking he was going to have a relegation clause, all this kind of stuff. Look, whether he keeps to his word or not, that's another obviously scenario. But right now, that's the message he's put out. I'm going to be here no matter what. Considering as well, the narrative going into the job was he didn't want to be here until he knew we were safe. So now he's saying, I'm going to be here no matter what. And the other thing, which I thought was quite interesting, was he says there's not much time now to be philosophical on the pitch. And you would just have to make sure we get organised and
what he said was it's not the
ball.
time to talk about his footballing philosophy, and that tells me then we're probably not going to see much of his footballing philosophy from now until the end of the season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like it's not going to be. I think he's kind of implying there he's going to have to compromise a bit in the short term, because we don't have time to implement full on Zerbi ball in in 10 days or whatever, or in a week's time. So, we just have to make sure we're organised off the ball, on the ball. We have to make sure they know what they're doing on the pitch. That's what he's saying. Which, by the way, they haven't looked like they know what they're doing, have they? For a long time. So, I think that's
get back to basics, do the basics right, and hopefully we'll be able to stay up. Look, from what he's saying, he putting out the message that he believes in the abilities of these football players. We've got players coming back now as well. I think what you can tell from his interview, this guy loves football.
Absolutely.
This guy lives and breathes the game. And look, I think his interview here, I think he's come across really well here.
Yeah, I think that was a really good interview. I think we're all looking forward to hearing what he's going to say. There's so many narratives going into this appointment, isn't it? And I think he spoke really well. Spoke well about the club, well about the players. I think he addressed the situation, the concerns from fan groups pretty well. And I think he put out the message that we all want to hear in the sense that he's going to be here next season no matter what, and he's really fully committed, considering that one of the concerns is this guy he's only here for the money. He's not going to be fully committed, which, look, could all be true. I'm just saying, from the message he's putting out there, that's what we want to hear.
You could still be here for the money and still be manager in the Championship, though.
Yeah, true.
So, look, I think that fine. If you're only going to be here for the money, you're only here for the money. But he still wants to do a good job. Mm-hmm. Like, the guy's an ultimate professional. He lives and breathes the sport. He wants to keep adding to his CV. He says this job is one of the most, if not the most important challenge in his career to date. And I think it is. I think it is. You're looking at the jobs he's done at Sassuolo, Brighton and Marseille. I think historically Tottenham is the biggest club that he's managed now. And if he does a good job here, in 3-4 years' time, like if he's done a really good job at Tottenham Hotspur, that's going to open the doors to anything for him.
100%. That's obviously a concern as well, considering when bigger thing comes along, he does get his head turned, it seems, a lot of the time. But let's just hope that doesn't happen in the near future. And I think, look, it's a really good interview. I liked what he got to say. I think he's a good talker. Clearly, his English has improved a lot. I know he wanted to speak about the Greenwood situation in Italian just to make sure there's no confusion. But his English seems to be really good. And that was something apparently that troubled his early days of writing. So that's a real positive.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, comes across really well. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. What did you take away from De Zerbi's first ever interview as Tottenham Hotspur manager? Because I really liked it. I really enjoyed listening to that, to be honest. But finally, let's get into who we think are going to be the biggest winners and the biggest losers in the Tottenham squad under Roberto De Zerbi. So we're going to go one for one here. And we're going to start off who we think is going to be one of the biggest winners. The first player we're going to talk about is Cuti Romero. And look, we all know the way Cuti likes to play on the edge. He likes to play forward-thinking football. He likes to press into that midfield, and he can turn left or right. He can play lovely balls, and his ball-playing ability is absolutely phenomenal. And look, I think like Cuti Romero is, with the quality that he has, is probably good for any manager, but particularly a manager like De Zerbi, who loves to play out from the back.
Yeah, I think the main thing with Romero is, you know how people get annoyed when he puts his foot on the ball and he's kind of waiting for players to move and stuff. That's exactly what De Zerbi's going to want. That's exactly what De Zerbi likes, and I think their characters are going to mesh. I think they're really going to see eye to eye in how they see football being played. I think he's going to like De Zerbi's mentality and tough love and intensity. I think that's what Romero wants. He wants high standards, and he wants that from the manager from a starting point. So I think they're really going to mesh well together, in my opinion. And I think he's a proper De Zerbi player in the sense that he is perfect for playing in between the lines, playing those quick passes and baiting the press. I think that's what Romero loves to do as well. So I think immediately you're going to see a better Romero, and I think De Zerbi is going to love him. And I think Romero is going to like De Zerbi as well.
First loser, who thinks is going to be one of the biggest losers under Roberto De Zerbi? And yeah, I think we can all guess who this player is going to be, and it's going to be João Palhinha. I don't think we take up the option to sign him now. Roberto De Zerbi is at the helm. We've seen his lack of ability on the ball, and we've seen at Marseille, we've seen at Brighton, he loves ball-playing midfielders. He needs players that can take the ball on the half-turn, keep the ball moving. Yeah, and Palhinha is just not that.
Yeah, I think what De Zerbi likes in his midfielders is high technical ability, bravery, and quality as well. He likes players playing those quick interchanges, little flicks, one-touch passes, not too many touches. And I think João Palhinha is someone who is just not very good at that side of the game. He's whenever he's rushed into a pass, whenever he's under pressure, his passes seem to go astray. They're not accurate. Even when he's got time and space, his passing isn't exactly fantastic. But I think the way De Zerbi likes to play, if you watch how Brighton play through the middle, it's always very quick, incisive, energetic, with a purpose kind of passing. And that's just not what De Zerbi... it's not what João Palhinha does, is it? And I just watch how the De Zerbi midfielders play the game, and I'm like, I just can't see João Palhinha being able to be up to speed with this. I think he's really going to struggle. Yeah. So I definitely think João Palhinha is going to be one of the four guys here. Yeah, it definitely seems that way. And, Palhinha, this is probably your last 7 games as a Spurs player, unfortunately.
Next, second winner who we're going to go for under Roberto De Zerbi. We're going to look at Xavi Simons. We all know the quality that Xavi Simons has. I think he's been up and down in a Spurs shirt. I think he has been gradually getting better as a season, and he's getting more influential as the season has gone on. However, I don't think he's had the right managers for him as of yet at Tottenham Hotspur. Thomas Frank hasn't been good for him. Tudor as well, albeit we have seen flashes for Xavi Simons in a Spurs shirt, particularly in Europe and in a few league games here and there. But I think Roberto De Zerbi is going to play to his strengths. He's going to get him playing so well. He's going to get him picking up these pockets of spaces. He's going to really hone in on that creative ability that he has got. I mean, just look at the first 6 months that Xavi played here. Like, he was getting the ball, making really good decisions, but he had no one in 10, 15, 20 yards of him. That's not going to happen under Roberto De Zerbi. De Zerbi is going to get runners off him. He's going to get him being the central figure of the creativity of this football club. And I think Xavi's development is going to come on leaps and bounds under De Zerbi. I really do.
Yeah, I think the main thing is options available to him, which he just had so little options available to him, but ever since he's come to the club, it seems. So I think that is the main thing. He's going to have people around him, people to play off. And yes, he maybe sometimes doesn't make the best decisions in the final third, but the guy has quality. And I think if you platform him correctly, we know there's a seriously talented footballer in there. And I think De Zerbi is going to really like him. He's going to be right. I think he's going to be the hub of the team. He's going to play him in his best position in that number 10. He's had number 10s before who haven't been the most physical, but he's got the best out of them. And I think Xavi is going to fall into that category. And I think he's going to love playing into the space that the Zerbi ball tries to bring you. And I think he's going to really flourish. I'm looking forward to Xavi.
I actually think he could be one of the most exciting ones. I really do. Mm-hmm. The second loser that we're going to go for is Conor Gallagher. Obviously, we only just brought him in January. We've given him a high pay packet, long contract as well. So there is a bit of a, strange conversation to have here. Like, Atletico Madrid were finding it hard to get him off their books. But I just don't think he has the kind of skill set that De Zerbi looks for in a football player. He's like a player that maybe will crash the box late and a hard runner, a hard worker. He'll like the hard runner and hard worker stuff, but I don't think he's of the required technical ability level that Roberto De Zerbi looks for in his midfielders.
Yeah, I just look at Gallagher and I look at the midfielders we got, and I think De Zerbi will look at that and think, I probably prefer Gray, I probably prefer Bergvall, I probably prefer Basuma. Bentancur is coming back soon. And understand, Gallagher's maybe the most offensive-minded out of all of those players. So you might think, well, De Zerbi's attacking manager, let's get an offensive-minded centre mid in there. But in terms of what is required from the role, those very quick passing and moving in interchanges, and also that ability to carry the ball over long distances, I think those other guys might be a better fit for it and better with their little passes. And I think Gallagher might again fall by the wayside. And I don't see him playing Gallagher really in a front three, potentially, like he has done in recently. I think Xavi's going to get that 10 role. So I think Gallagher might be left out in the cold, and I wonder if there'll be a difficult conversation to be had in the summer if De Zerbi doesn't take to Gallagher immediately, because he came in for 40 million. He's the highest earner. If we stay up and he's not Zerbi's preferred choice, do you think there's a conversation to be had in the summer about his future? The
problem that we have is that because we've put him on such high wages, it's going to be hard to sell him. It's going to be really hard to sell him. He's got he's probably got a minimum of 3-4 years in his contract. How are we going to get him out the door? Who's going to come and pay those wages for him?
I know, that's a good point. Unless we subsidise the wages or something ridiculous. Yeah, I do wonder if because if he's not being picked now, that means going forward, if we're looking to improve those areas, he's not going to have a future here if De Zerbi doesn't fancy him right now.
He might end up becoming just a squad player for a few years, and then when the contract starts to kind of run out a little bit, then take a deal on him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. Or he might like him. Man, could be completely wrong.
The thing is, what he might like is his hard work and his pressing. Because we know De Zerbi loves hard workers. He likes good pressers. And that's what Gallagher is.
True.
Just the technical ability is just a bit low.
And I feel like De Zerbi likes sometimes the midfielders to be comfortable with their back to goal, and Gallagher doesn't seem to be that comfortable in that facing that direction.
Yeah. All right, next up, one of the winners, we have gone for Lucas Bergvall. And we don't have Archie Gray on this list, but I think Archie Gray will be one of the biggest winners under De Zerbi as well. And Archie Gray and Bergvall, both of them, obviously we brought them as such young players, and I think they're getting better and better. Their development is so strong, particularly Archie Gray. Now, Bergvall, it's hard to judge this season because he's been in and out of the team and injuries and everything like that. But look, we all know the qualities that Lucas Bergvall has. Got a Player of the Year last season, and I think De Zerbi is going to love both of these players. He really is.
I think for Bergvall, the reason for me why he's going to be such a big winner is because I think, first of all, he's going to be back in his natural position, in my opinion. I think he's going to be playing back in the number 8, and I think that's where Zerbi's going to like him. I think the fact that he is very good at kind of wriggling out of tight situations, and his ball carrying ability
And driving,
is really good in driving. I think he's going to love that. And I think I don't think we've tapped into his passing ability. I think sometimes he takes too long to pass the ball. He hangs on to the ball too much. But I think if De Zerbi can drill it into him, get those less touches, pop those passes off quickly, he's got the ability to do it. And I think once De Zerbi gets into him, he's going to be a perfect De Zerbi player. He's got the physicality, he's got brilliant stamina, he's got actually underrated strength, and he's got really great technical ability. But I feel like most of the time, the technical ability is borne out more in his ball carrying ability. But I think he's got good passing as well, and I think De Zerbi is going to coach him in a way that makes him a lot more efficient on the ball.
Yeah, and look, you talk about Bergvall's ability to wriggle out of situations. I mean, Gray has that in abundance as well.
Yeah.
And I think like you're talking about these two as a double pivot, maybe behind a Javi Simmons. I think that might be our go-to. I really do believe that, and I think that Javi and Bergvall have attributes that can complement each other in that middle of the park as well. You're looking at both of them, and actually we've seen it on a few times. We haven't seen them play together that often, but when they do play together, I think it's sometimes we've had our best results this season.
Burnley, I remember.
First game of the season they played together, and we're like, wow, look, Thomas Frank's going for them two in his first Premier League game, and
we had that, and then ever since then, Bergvall's barely played in the number 8.
Gone for a Paulinho and Bentancur and this and that.
Tudor never had him, did he?
I think we always look good when them two play together. We played with them two together away at PSG as well.
I think maybe away at West Ham, maybe.
So, you know what I mean? So I think these guys have got a good synergy between them, and we haven't seen them together more enough anywhere near what we should be seeing. And I think De Zerbi will love them.
Yeah.
All right, next up, one of the losers. This is the last loser, and that is going to be... No, sorry, we've got two more. Guillermo Vicario. We all know that De Zerbi loves a goalkeeper who can play it out from the back, and we all know that one of his biggest weaknesses, Vicario, is playing out from the back. So, look, we all know as well that Vicario is angling for a move. He's Inter Milan, AC Milan have been heavily interested in Vicario for a summer move. So, yeah, I think Vicario probably, this is his last 7 games for Spurs anyway.
Yeah, well, the thing is with Zerbi, he's not scared to change a keeper. He's not scared to even bring in a keeper who's been previously unfancied and give them an opportunity. And we know Kinski, with his ability on the ball, maybe De Zerbi looks at and thinks, I want to give this guy an opportunity and I want to give this guy a chance. Now, Vicario has had lots of problems playing out the back, definitely in the last year. I would say less so under Ange, especially early on. I think... There's 2 ways of looking at it. I think Vicario's ball playing ability is very limited. We all know that. When he's asked to ping a little chip pass into a fullback or play long to a striker, it's woeful. He's not very good at it. But the thing why it wasn't so highlighted under Ange is because first of all, he had lots of options, and his job was pretty much play the ball quickly to a defender, pop the ball off, and his short passing game wasn't terrible. He didn't misplace too many short passes, but he did always kind of look a bit nervous, right? He didn't look completely comfortable on the ball. But I think in a weird way, De Zerbi coming in will mean he's got a lot of options again. I feel like the build-up play was a massive issue under Frank. We always looked like we didn't know what we were doing on the ball. We can never build up from the back. And it never ever got going, really, pretty much throughout this whole tenure. And I think a lot of the reason why is because there was a lot of separation between the midfield and defence. So and Vicario always had very limited options on the ball. So I do think from in one standpoint, Vicario will now have more options. So I reckon we will see some mistakes be cut out from him in terms of he's not going to be playing out play for a throw all the time like he is now. But what De Zerbi also requires is I think you need to be braver as a goalkeeper on the ball than you were under Ange. He literally, I think, is asking the goalkeeper to be involved in baiting the press. He needs a player to stand towards the keeper before they're passing off. And I see Vicario getting very nervous in those situations. And I know whether he's totally comfortable in those situations, I reckon the jury is massively out on that. Albeit under Ange, he looked a bit more comfortable than he does now. So I think it'll be better for him than it is now, but it still won't be enough for De Zerbi.
You know, having said that, though, I do think he persists with Vicario until the end of the season, because what he's saying in his interview just now, saying, I don't want to talk about my philosophy now. I think he's going to value that shot stopping over anything right now, because we cannot be conceding any easy goals.
And hopefully with his hernia operation done, hopefully that comes back, because it's completely deserted him over the last 2 months or so.
Yeah. Another winner, we are going to go for Pedro Porro. Well, we all know the qualities that Pedro Porro has. Unbelievable ball playing and crossing ability. One of our best players in build-up that we have at the football club. And yeah, look, right backs and left backs, full backs are very important in a De Zerbi system. And I think in recent times, you've seen the way the fullback works. Sometimes it's even a midfielder at right back, comes into the midfield with, you know, high IQ and high kind of volume of passing. And I think Pedro Porro will be absolutely perfect for it.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be one who's really going to unlock Pedro Porro, in my opinion, because I think Porro needs to be, I know he's very good in the final third, but I'm starting to think he needs to be someone who he does what Slot did with Trent, just like really centre the build up around him and really get that technical passing ability out of him, which I feel like he was pretty much resorted to spamming passes down the line under Frank. And he was not getting the best out of him, in my opinion, albeit he did create quite a few like crosses and stuff. But I think in build-up, he was literally resorted to just spamming balls to Kudus, and that was it. Under Ange, he was definitely inverted, but he was playing too much maybe in those number 10 positions, and he kept getting caught out of position. I think De Zerbi could really unlock the true potential of Pedro Porro, which I think we haven't seen the best out of. Get him in that build-up, get him dictating the play from that position, get him tucking inside. He likes to have his fullbacks inverted, so I think it's gonna suit Porro. And I've seen what he can do with someone like Pascal Gross, and I think Pedro Porro could play a similar role to how Pascal Gross plays those when he's at fullback. And he was brilliant there with. You think Pascal Gross at fullback is going to get caught out all the time, and he didn't. And he somehow made it. He was getting the best out of him, yet he still somehow overcame his deficiencies as well. So he wasn't totally overexposed. And I think he could do the same with Porro.
The last loser that we're going to go for is Radu Dragusin. I don't expect him to be here past the summer, to be honest, Radu, but I don't think he's a defender that De Zerbi will take too well. He's, you know, pretty poor on the ball. As a pure defender, you know, he can be okay at times, but obviously we haven't seen that too much, him coming back from an ACL. I just think profile, stylistic-wise, he's just completely the wrong fit for someone like Roberto De Zerbi. So I think Spurs are going to look to move him on in the summer.
Yeah, thinking of Dragusin back in that high line, I think sends shivers down my spine. I think he isn't going to fancy him at all. And I think nowhere near technical enough to play those. Imagine Dragusin baiting the press. Like, can you just imagine it? Like, I can't even imagine him not shitting himself when anyone comes within like 10 yards of him. So I think Dragusin's going to really struggle with this. I think De Zerbi's going to take one look at him and say, "You're gone, mate. You ain't staying here."
And the last player we're going to talk about, who is going to be a winner, is Yves Bissouma. Obviously, I think when you're looking at the midfielders that we have and the ability to take the ball on the half turn and drive, Bissouma might actually be the best one that we've got. We've seen him flourish in the Bournemouth team, albeit not under De Zerbi, under Graham Potter. And that obviously forced us to sign him, and we were thought we were getting one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Hasn't really turned out that way. Bissouma, though, only has a few months left in his contract. So maybe he has 7 games to prove himself to De Zerbi, and maybe if he does prove himself in these 7 games, maybe Spurs even give him another contract.
Yeah, I don't know whether he will be here after the season. Even if he does well, he could still leave on a free and go look for a new challenge. But I think what we know about Bissouma is what's the main thing he struggles with, and that's consistency, and that's lapses in concentration and switching off in games. That's like the biggest thing he struggles with. And I think from a profile point of view, when we go what we saw from the early days of Angel and some other spats of form, he's so press resistant. He's very comfortable with his back facing the play. He's very comfortable being pressed. He's very comfortable playing quick one-touch passes as well, and he can wriggle out of tight situations. Now he's got 7 games to lock in, prove a new manager. Either prove to a new manager he can stay here, or prove to buying clubs he's got a big future and you should buy him. I really think I could see Bissouma locking in these next 7 games and show his best side of himself, because he's either looking for a new contract, which is what players do when they're looking for a new contract, they show their best side of themselves. And I think he's really suited to what De Zerbi wants to do as well. I think De Zerbi will look at him and thinking, this guy can do what I need him to do. And I think he can trust him for 7 games. So I think he's going to be a winner out of this. Whether he stays at Tottenham or not, I still think he'll be a winner out of De Zerbi being here for the next 7 games.
It's going to be interesting. I think even so, there are a few more players in the squad who could come out as winners under De Zerbi. I think, if Kinski can brush up on that, goalkeeping ability in terms of his shot stopping, he could definitely be a winner under De Zerbi. And I don't think De Zerbi would be scared to throw Kinski in there, even after what happened at Atletico Madrid. I think Matisse Tell can come on leaps and bounds under someone like De Zerbi, and that goes the same for Wilson Odebear, but obviously Odebear is not going to be seen for a very long time. So I think there are many players in this squad that could be very valuable to De Zerbi. I really do believe that.
Yeah, I think Solanke, I think he's going to be so valuable. Definitely. I think maybe another loser potentially is Richarlison. I think he's going to definitely fancy Solanke over Richarlison. And I think that's going to be, maybe Richarlison might be left out in the cold a bit, maybe reduced to a super sub. I could definitely see that happening. But yeah, I think Van der Ven as well. Could he be a loser potentially? Because he's improved, you would say, up until the last couple months. As a player, you'd say the way we were playing has improved him as a defender. But now, is he going back to the, Van der Ven, who just has to put out fires and play that high line and stretch those hamstrings again? Is he putting his hamstrings at risk? Is that going to suit him? Is he going to be happy in favour of that? Who knows? So that could be something to look at. I definitely think Romero is more of a De Zerbi defender than Van der Ven, because I think Romero is a lot more comfortable on the ball than Van der Ven is as well. So that, from that element, I don't think Van der Ven's as good playing that kind of baiting the press kind of football.
The thing is, I don't think he needs 2 big ball playing centre backs. I think he needs 2 centre backs that complement each other well. And I think Van der Ven and Romero can do that.
I think in an ideal world, he wants everyone to be very comfortable on the ball.
But you're looking at his centre play. Yeah, but you're looking at his centre backs that have had. I mean, Van der Ven will be up there with one of the best centre backs that he's had.
Maybe you can improve him on the ball. That'll be the optimal thing. And I think Kudus will be a massive winner here as well.
The thing is, with the ability that Van der Ven has, I think there's no way he doesn't take to De Zerbi ball. I really believe that. We saw how good Van der Ven was under Ange.
Yeah, it's true. He did take to Ange ball as well, for sure.
I mean, the way that Van der Ven can carry the ball as well, I think De Zerbi will love that. So look, I think a lot of players will love playing on De Zerbi, but we've got a big 7 games ahead of us. I don't think we're going to see De Zerbi ball in its purest form in these next 7 games, but let's hope he can do enough to keep us in the division. And then regardless, we'll see De Zerbi ball in full flight next season. I mean, even if we go down, that's maybe a bit excited even for next season in the Championship. Like De Zerbi.
He's going to be here no matter what. Mikey Moore, Lancashire, Donnelly, all playing De Zerbi ball. Tyrese Hall.
Does that not excite you a little bit? Not excite you to get relegated, because obviously I don't want anything to do with relegation. But if we were to get relegated, seeing
And De Zerbi-
Hotspur away under De Zerbi in the Championship,
De Zerbi turning our youngsters into a De Zerbi super team.
yeah, in
Why
the
not?
Championship,
Why not? We just
that sounds
bang
like
everyone away.
unbelievable.
I mean, part of me wants to see it.
Let's hope we never have to see it.
Let's hope
But
not.
if we have to see it, I think it'll be great. It'll be a fun season.
It could be. It could. Well, let's hope it is. Let's hope it works.
But look, that is it from us today. We'll see you back tomorrow for another day. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Spurs.